Welcome, everyone, to the MMA Happy Hour. I am Kyle Anthony, your host, where today we are talking UFC 304, Leon Edwards versus Belal Muhammad. We're going to be breaking down 4 fights here on the show. If you want to become a client, link down in the description. And also, don't forget to like this video. You know, that always helps the algorithm here. So don't forget to do that. And whether you agree or disagree here with me and Ray, would love to hear it in the comment section if you agree or not. But my guest today doesn't need he doesn't really need introduction here. It's the head coach, Ray Longo. Ray, I'm honored to have you on again. And how you doing, man?
Awesome, man. Feeling really good. How about yourself?
Feeling good, feeling good. Big card coming up, and we're gonna dive right into it. We're gonna be breaking down the main event of the evening first, which is between Leon Edwards and Belal Muhammad. Now, we saw this fight back in 2021. Is a rematch. The first round was Leon Edwards landing 19 strikes compared to Belal's 8. Eye poke happens in the second round, and here we are again down the road for a title. So, Ray, how do you see this kind of playing out, and who do you think is going to grab the victory here?
Take it easy, buddy. Again, I got to go with Leon Edwards. They're fighting in England, right? If I'm not mistaken, like he's got the hometown advantage. I do think Belal's a tough out, but I think the movement of Leon Edwards, the striking accuracy, is going to let him edge it out. I think he'll probably go to distance. I think, if Belal's going to win, I think he's got to make it a really ugly fight, which I think he's capable of doing. But I see Edwards with momentum on his side with the crowd, and I'm going to lead towards Leon on this one.
Yeah, this one here, I mean, to your point, I mean, I think this is one where the footwork of Leon, I think, is going to be really, really work well for him in this spot here. When you're looking at really what, Belal does, obviously he's going to be doing the wrestling. Obviously he's looking for those takedowns, 35% takedown success rate compared to Edwards, 70% takedown defense rate. So it has held up in those particular points. But the one thing that I think really has kind of been looked past a little bit on the Belal side, although, yes, the line continues to widen, is out of Belal's last 5 victories, 3 of them were wrestlers who have limited striking. And I think that's a completely different beast you're looking at with Leon Edwards here. You look at the last 3, it was Damian Maia on his retirement fight. That's who Belal beat. That's, let's just move on from there. The next one is Sean Brady. Sean Brady in Abu Dhabi, he looked terrible, was gassed out in that first round, pretty much the end of it. And Belal was able to capitalize, so credit to him there. And then even the one before that was, most recent was Gilbert Burns, and the Gilbert Burns fight was one where Gilbert hurt his shoulder in the first round, and yet Belal still was not able to finish him. I think that's a little bit of a red flag, a little bit there. And then you even look at the 2 other victories. It's Wonder Boy, Wonder Boy kickboxer, can't really stop takedowns.
Right.
And then the other one was Luque, who is kind of on the downturn. Both of those guys are 1-3 out of their last 4. So these are the highest level of guys. I get it there. But I really think you look at Leon, he has fought 3 guys exactly to pretty much Belal. He fought Usman twice, won, and then he fought Colby Covington and won. So I think it's a great setup for him here. I think that the footwork, the distance management, this is going to be the best striker that he has faced in a very long time. And I think that Leon has the ability, to your point, I think this goes to a decision as well, too. It's juice to the over 4.5 is like minus 260. So I think when you're looking at the number here, you've got Leon minus 260 money line, but Edwards via points is plus 120. I think that's a great number, a very likely path. And I think that's the way to go here. So I'm going to be going Edwards via points. So it looks like on this first one here, we agree.
Yeah, 100%. I tell you bring up a couple of good points. And the Sean Brady fight, he was training with Kape and those guys, right? So I think that was a good thing for him. And I think he was training over there also, which got him acclimated a little bit. Brady, I'm sure, would want that fight back. But, again, that's a really good matchup. And the Wonder Boy thing, the takedown thing is just that was a big, big issue. I'm going to say he's kind of a better striker than – it depends on what style you like than Edwards. But Edwards, having the takedown defense and having worked through it in fights against Usman and Covington, I think that's the key. I think you hit that one right on the head. So, yeah, I think we both agree on Leon Edwards for sure.
All right. All right. So we both agree on that one. But one that I think a lot of people are definitely on both sides of here is Muhammad Mokaev versus Belal Kape. And this is an interesting fight here. The money has consistently come in on Mokaev here. And I'll set the table here in this one first. And this is a spot here where you've got Mokaev, 23 years old, 11-0, a wrestler, a lot of hype kind of behind him. And Kape on the other side has missed weight a couple times. Kind of his hype really is kind of dwindled off a little bit here. And that's going to be the big debate here, wrestler versus grappler here. And that's kind of going to be the case here. And so how do you really see this one panning out with a high-level striker in Kape and then just that wrestling of Mokaev?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, so I cornered against Kape in Japan. I had Oka Sasaki, and he beat him. Kind of with the wrestling. So I think even what you're saying with the missing weight, Mokaev is the more reliable, consistent guy, and that's why I'm going to pick him. I think Kape's a radical guy, but I think the consistency of Mokaev with the grappling will lead him to victory in this.
Yeah, so this one here, the big thing here for me when Mokaev and his wrestling is that he just has not good top control. I mean, he just consistently, he can wrestle and cage push you and push you up against the fence, but he just cannot really keep it. And I think the big issue is going to be really the fact that his physicality and his strength, I think that really is on the weaker side for him.
Yes.
And I think that's caused a lot of problems. You saw it against Alex Perez, where Alex Perez is a physical guy, good wrestler, and he was just able to kind of defend the takedowns. And even in that spot, Mokaev was 3 for 20 on takedowns in that fight. And that was also, I believe, in the Apex. So smaller cage, all of those things kind of help. This is obviously the normal size cage here. But that's going to be one part of it. 41% takedown success rate for Mokaev. On the other side, you've got Kape, 77% takedown defense rate. That's going to be the battle there. I mean, obviously the number could be a little skewed because Mokaev just shoots and shoots and shoots, and that number could really be kind of blown out of proportion a little bit there. But I think the two kind of fights that really do bring a lot of questions to Mokaev, and I do believe why he did not get the title shot after Alex Perez, was his last two fights. 2 fights ago, he fought Tim Elliott. And this is the fight where on 2 scorecards going into the 3rd round in that fight, Elliott was up 2-0 on 2 scorecards. He ends up getting Mokaev, credit to him, gets that submission, gets that victory, a big victory for him, closing that out. But to me, if you're going to be a guy that's supposed to be the next title challenger, the rising star, you got to run through a guy like Tim Elliott. Nothing against the guy, but I think if you're really looking to hype a guy up who has the ability, has the wrestling, that's not the greatest look. And then even most recently, as I was just saying, Alex Perez, this is a spot here where rewatching this fight, I thought Perez won. I mean, I really thought he edged it out a little bit there. Strikes landed were very close. It was some of these takedowns, but overall, Mokaev is not active. He's just looking for position. Right now, judges are all about, damage over position. And I think that's going to be something. But Mokaev averages 1.5 significant strikes landed per minute. That is astronomically low. And that's where somebody like Kape, who can throw big shots, land, really utilize some of his footwork. So for me, I do like Kape here. I think that he can go out there, get the job done. The plus 125 number is pretty good, but I would not be overly surprised if Mokaev kind of goes out there and just wrestles and just kind of ugly fight, but wet blankets him.
Yeah, I think Kape's a real emotional guy. I think he's proven that in some of his speeches. I think the fact that he is like a jack little dude, he's not having an easy time making the weight. And if he has a hard time making the weight, even if the guy shoots 20 times and gets 3 takedowns, just defending 20 times could even drain the gas tank. I think I see it being a close fight going into the 3rd with Mokaev kind of running away with it at that point. But I like Kape's craziness, but I think this time I'm going with consistency, and he's been getting the job done, and I'm sure he'll find a way to get it done this time too.
Yes. All right. So there you go. That's going to be a great fight. Going to be a great fight.
I'm excited for that fight.
That's definitely one of the highlighted ones. Like I said, people I see on Twitter back and forth, battle about this one. So people are planting their flag in that fight. So it should be a good one. Now, the next one here we will talk is going to be Arnold Allen versus Giga Chikadze here. So this is a fight here where, the betting market and kind of looking at it here, I think really has kind of overreacted to two things. And I think it's one, the age of Giga. Yes, that's not great. He's going to be 35 years old. But the other is the absolute beating he took against Calvin Kattar. He took a life-altering beating in that. Credit to him. He really battled through it and all of those things. But I do think that this is a spot where, could Allen wrestle? Maybe. But if you look at even, this, I just believe it could be a striking match. And you look at Allen, he has 0 takedown attempts over his last 4 fights. He's got 2 takedowns successful over the last 6 fights, and they were both against Sadiq Youssef. I think this is a fight that really does play out on the feet. And if this plays out on the feet, kind of a glorified kickboxing match, I think this line is absolutely way too wide. You've got someone like Arnold Allen at a minus 250. I do think that, Giga's going to have the slicker combinations. I think that his kicking, the kicking arsenal, and plus the fact that Giga has the Giga kick, where it's really that body shot. And these guys are opposite stances, southpaw and orthodox. I think the body shot will be there for Giga consistently. You also add in 4-inch reach advantage, 4-inch height advantage for Giga. I mean, things start to really kind of question how this is a plus 205. Again, the beating that he took and also the age. People are kind of messing with that. But even again, I always like to go back and see kind of the fights that they've had prior. And you look at even the last 3 fights for Allen, he beats Sadiq Youssef in a fight where Sadiq outlanded him 47-21. And, then he also had Dan Hooker he beat, who Dan Hooker was drained at 145, gets run over. That was just a bad setup for Dan. And then the Calvin Kattar win was, close fight. Kattar gets injured. So it wasn't like he's really looked great here. I do like Giga here. I think that the plus 205 number is pretty good here for a fight that I think will be competitive. What do you think, Ray?
Yeah, I'm going to go with, first off, I personally know Giga. Stand-up guy, great guy. I would never bet against him, but I like his kickboxing in that fight. Like you say, it's not like the other guys shooting takedowns. Although Arnold I do think he's an intelligent fighter, and I think Faraz, they do game plan how to win, not necessarily how to look good or be exciting. But I think I think that's part of Arnold's problem. He's not the most exciting, or there's something about his look that's a little off. But
like bland.
I do think that they will try to implement the wrestling because that's going to be their easiest way or their safest way to a victory, or mix it in enough to just steal the round type of deal. So, but I'm going to go with Giga on this. I hope it's a stand-up fight. I hope he gets to, kind of pick them apart and he stays busy. I think he knows this is a big fight for him. If he's going to do anything, he needs this fight big time. So, I'm agreeing with you. I'm going to go with Giga, and that is a big line, but Arnold is consistent too, though, man. So
yeah, it's going to be tough. Which way would you think it'd go? Do you think decision, knockout? Which way would you think if Arnold got it?
This is a decision, no matter how you look at it. Right? Yeah, I don't think. What's the odds are it going the distance?
I don't have it in front of me, but I'm sure it's probably.
That's what I would take. I think the fight's definitely
just fight go. All right, fight go decision. All right,
technical guys, that. They've been around too. They should be hard to get rid of. Like you say, he took a beating from Kattar, so that's not going to be a problem. And I think the other guy's pretty tough too. So
right, and even the fact, and even Arnold's been a low volume kind of striker.
Yeah. That's why I say he looks like a cerebral guy to me. He's got a weird style with that arm dangling in the front. I don't know what but I don't know. I think Giga finds a way to win this fight.
All right. So we agree on that one, and then the last one we'll quickly go over here is another interesting matchup here. You got Bobby King Green. He's changed name to King against Paddy Pimblett, and this one here is another grappler versus striker type of matchup here. And for me, when I'm looking at this one here, I think the first thing that really stuck out is Bobby Green's 37, about to be 38 in September, and not that age is everything, but there's got to be a point that this guy starts to decline. Now, also the fact that, it's not that, everyone kind of knocks Paddy Pimblett about, he hasn't faced the highest level guys, or, he's looked a little suspect in some of these wins. He's grabbing some wins, and I get that. But it's not that Bobby Green has looked like a world beater either. He's 3-3-1 over his last 7 fights. And if you even look at the 3 guys he beat, again, you got to go over this. Tony Ferguson he beat. Well, welcome to the club there. He's 0-7 run now, unfortunately, in the UFC. He beat Grant Dawson, that was the 33-second knockout from Green, which pretty much could be as fluky as it gets, kind of a little bit there. Green does not have power, and he was able to kind of, collapse Dawson within the first 33 seconds. And then the one after that was the most recent one against Jim Miller, who's 41, and he's kind of now aging out a little bit there too. So I think the aggressiveness, I think Paddy is going to be there. I think this would be the best version of Paddy in his prime, 29 years old. He's only going to get better on home soil. I think he can push a pace. I think he could really crash the pocket and get clinching, get some takedowns. And if he gets him down once, I think it's either banking that round or finding the finish for Paddy. I do rate Paddy's grappling fairly high compared to Bobby Green. So I like Paddy here. The money consistently has come in on Paddy in this spot here. So I'm taking it as well. How do you see this one going down?
Man, I'm going to go with Bobby Green. I think he's fought the best, some of the best of the best. He's been in good fights. I think, and when you do that, you get down to this level where a guy's got his chin up in the air. I think Bobby, I don't think Bobby lets him come forward. You know what I mean? I think he's going to get him going backwards. If Paddy can't get this fight to the floor, I don't see how he even wins. I just don't. I mean, the problem with Bobby Green, sometimes he just has too much fun, and he's not really worried about the freaking win, But if he puts his mind to it, I say he puts a beating on this kid. I'm going to disagree with you. I almost think this fight should be the way the Arnold fight and the Chikadze fight is. I think Pimblett should be a bigger underdog. But they're probably doing what you did. Like, he's 37 years old. They're taking that. You never know when he's just going to get too old overnight. But I do think Bobby loves fighting. I don't think he looks like a young 37 to me mentally and physically. And again, I just don't know what this kid does that he hasn't seen 1,000 times over with better people. That's kind of where I'm going with that, So I agree. But I think it's an intelligent guess to maybe catch Bobby Green. Probably because even the way I'm pitching the fight, I could be completely wrong because it just might be the time where he's just going to get old overnight. You know what I mean? And I think that's what they're kind of hoping for. I just don't think it's going to happen this fight.
Yeah, and I think that even with that, could it be a little bit of home cooking with some close rounds, that whole thing. But and to your point, does Bobby kind of let it get away from him because he's he's doing a little too much of the showboaty stuff, while Paddy at least looks like maybe he's a little more in the fight than as showboaty. So that's where he could just get away, and that's Bobby Green. That's
the only problem. But I think if he goes behind that jab, he keeps popping and walking backwards, picking his shots, defending a takedown here and there, and really when it gets to the wrestling, getting frantic, making sure you get back to your feet, not acquiescing to anything. I think he should have a good night.
All right. Well, there you go for UFC 304. There's our picks. There's our plays. Let us know in the comments if you agree, disagree, however you feel. And Ray, thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it, man.
All right, we still got to get to the gym. I thought you were stopping by.
Yeah, I got to come up there. And I got to take some leg kicks from Aljo or something like that.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to do that, but I'd love to see it. Anyway, listen, Kyle, great catching up, and hopefully I'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
All right, I'll talk to you, Ray. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
Take it easy, Kyle. Take care, guys.